Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Special Edition. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, this is a dry run for a whole bunch of new settings which have finally come to fruition after COVID. So I've spent a considerable amount of time, money and effort with the support of my Patreons, members, people who smash the super chat, all that good stuff, to basically turn this particular space into a studio worthy of broadcasting Flat Earth Debate. And I've got some very high standards. So through a series of eliminating various different methods and processes to get the sound as nice as it can possibly be. Not that a lot of people are asking me for nicer sound. I want it to be as good as possible because that's the thing that will hopefully make the show stand out. So I'm going to show you around this, which is my space, although it'll be a bit rough and ready because I'm going to use this webcam. So I'll grab hold of that, move my microphone, which I'll come to later, out of the way. And as I'm doing so, hopefully I can actually give you a bit of a talk about what the space is and how it functions and all that good stuff. So let's move this mic out of the way and swing this camera around. So I can show you some of the stuff in here. Hopefully the autofocus works. Let's move this mic as far as I can over here. So these are various different acoustic panels that are dotted around the room. And if you ignore the clutter and mess there, as you can probably see, scattered around here, there and everywhere. And into the corner where my speakers that I monitor the show are. And onto my diffusers and tune traps, these little square black boxes that you can see in the corners. They're tuned diaphragmatic absorbers that do very low frequency bass. The other speaker that I monitor the show on, and then there's the same on the other side, a whole load of panels on the wall. So let's just swing back around. I am completely off axis when making this description of my panels, intentionally so, because I want to see how it sounds when I go past the microphone. This is not going to be elegant. Right, let's swing this back into position, roughly about there. Not that I'm going to stay on camera for that much longer. Get my mic back into shot. Somewhere about there-ish. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, I'm not going to concern myself too much with how I'm going to look, as I say, because what I want to do is transition to my screen where I can show you all of my settings. So that's the room, and shall I talk through some of the panels and whatnot in here? Yeah, I suppose I could. So the panels that you saw that are covered in wood with the hexagons on them are designed to break up the sound in the space that is actually occupied, so the room doesn't feel uncomfortable. So if you just put the normal absorptive panels everywhere, you don't get any reflections off the wall at all. It's all absorbed, and therefore it doesn't feel natural when you sit in here as a lounge. Now, it is better to break up the sound a little bit as well as just absorbing it, so that's the idea behind all of those hexagons everywhere and behind me. In the front half of the room where the speakers actually are, it is all just basically absorption. Some of it at a particular frequency, some of it full range. So those are the black boxes, if you will. And then there is one big diffuser array. And the purpose of that is when I'm talking now, I don't get any bounce back of my own voice off those crazy looking shapes. I won't go into how a quadratic diffuser works, but that's what that is. Anyway, I'm now going to transition to my what I call TV screen. It's just my small monitor as opposed to the projector. And in here you can see all of my different connections. So here we go. If I lean, that's it, past the mic, this would be the scenario to read out a super chat because the one of my heaters actually blocks the corner of my monitor, so I have to lean past that to see the super chat scrolling up on a screen that's got a low enough resolution for the text to be large enough. So I'd shout out to Unitox Femu for smashing the super chat at about that sort of volume. And as you can see from the levels, I've got it all nicely set up so nothing is distorting. I've also set up my preamp so that were I to be yelling at the top of my lungs at some fundy that's come on the show and happen to be too close, let's just go back into that position where I'm shouting out people. I'm not going to turn the camera on because I'm now literally 3 inches off this lens and it'll look a bit ugly staring down my nose or something. Anyway, so this is where I'd be in that position. Now, the worst case scenario is that I forget that I'm sat propped forward, unlikely, but may happen. And I want to be, worst case scenario, not setting off any sort of distortion. And as I look behind me at my preamp, which is an Audient Evo 4, it's not reaching its peak level either. So nothing No line is distorting. So that means that I am confident at this stage, and we'll probably put out this video unless I review it and there is some distortion in it. Hopefully not. I'm pretty certain that I've actually figured all this stuff out now. And figuring that stuff out is what I'm going to show you here. So inside this cog, you've got a tab for filters, and you can just add filters to this list. And I've got various different things in here that I've faffed and fiddled with in order to come up with these particular settings, and I'll run through them very, very quickly. So an expander just crushes down quiet sounds, so it's a bit like a noise gate if you're familiar with that, but it works in a smoother manner, and you can control the ratios that it does so and the limits at which it kicks in. I've also got gain, which is to say that I've set my gain at what I think is the approximate level on my Audient Evo 4, so it never distorts regardless if I was 3 inches off the mic like I've just shown you, and shouting down it, so that will never distort. It's set at a low enough gain. It's actually very low. I'm pretty vocal and dynamic, which is unfortunate in terms of setting these settings. Same that goes for this. So I've added 10 dB in voice meter, just so I'm not adding 20 dB to a line, which everything comes to. That would leave me with 20 dB being added to my guests and to me. But I do want to put a certain amount into every single person that comes through this line into these compressors and filters, so that they're all pushed up into the expanders and the compressors. So the compressor that I've got in the first position runs from minus 25, I should say, at 1.5 to 1. So it's a very gentle compressor, and then slightly higher up at minus 16 I've got a 3 to 1 compressor. So there's a couple rather than just one. Most people would probably set it at between 4 and 6 to 1 and just have one and be done with it, and it would be set at, I don't know, somewhere in between where I've got mine in terms of the threshold. Finally, a limiter, which I've got set to minus 3 dB. So that means that nothing can go through that limiter, so in this scale here down on OBS. So that's it. That's pretty much all of my filters. I'll just close this out, and what else can I tell you in here? There's not a great deal for me to do. This was actually an audio test, so I should actually do a few things that I would do here. Maybe discuss. I was thinking about discussing the sextant because it's the current thing that I'm discussing. I just need to have some sort of vocal at a normal level, like I'm doing now, talking to myself, to listen to it how it comes out on the broadcast. Maybe use my "There is no Earth curve, Fundy" as a shouty shout to get an idea of where it will distort, if at all, which I would hope it isn't. I think I can round out. I've got enough information from this little snippet to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you if I have broadcast this out or published this to an actual public audience. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Leave comments below if I have. I've been Nathan Oakley. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the join button to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and all that good stuff. And I will see you all in the next video.